What's up, guys? Welcome back to the paddock here on F1 America. The boys are back in town.
Boys are back in town. Canada GP. Canada? Damn Canadians.
Canada.
A lot to talk about. We got a lot to talk about.
So much, yeah. Well, it's been a while since we did a actual race recap, the two of us.
Yeah. Excited to be back in the studio. Back in the paddock.
The bromance continues. Guys, so huge. I mean, one, Red Bull, Max, they're just above and beyond, like miles apart from everyone else. It's obvious they've won every single race this year. Sergio, however, is really kind of fallen off the pace. Not sure if the pressure's getting to him or really how much longer he's going to have that drive if he continues to.
I have a theory.
Let's hear it.
I have a theory that I don't know if they're messing with it or I wonder if they're downplaying it because I'm sure Horner loves to see 1-2s all day long, right?
Mm-hmm.
But do you think they're like, I just don't see how you go from being like a race winning contender, the first 3 races, and now you're absolutely shitting the bed. So it's like either somebody, maybe they're tweaking on his car. I don't think they would do that, but maybe like I feel like something's going on behind the scenes that we don't know about. And maybe they're like, yo, you need to downplay this. That's my theory, but I don't know. We'll have to see what happens. Maybe he's just in a lull right now. Maybe he's got some person. Maybe the cartel's getting to him. I don't know.
He's very, very experienced, but he doesn't have experience in championship. Like last year wasn't quite close enough like it was this year. It was more Charles and Max last year, and then Charles shit the bed. And I mean, honestly, Max is just outperforming everyone.
Max is in a league of his own.
Yeah.
We're also live on Instagram. Hi, Zach.
What's up?
Thanks for joining the stream. Yeah, I don't know. You kind of think like the mental game that goes with it. And we're not even like thinking, I'm sure, yeah, he's thinking of, what's it called? He's thinking of title, but at the same time, we're so far out. We still got 15 plus races to go. Like you can't be thinking of a title that early. Yeah. I'm sure Max is already there. He's like, okay, cool. I got this thing. Like as long as I just keep performing, I have the lead. I got it locked up. But like, do you think Checo's really thinking about it that early in the day? And like, I don't think you can at this point. And same Charles was I think until like halfway the season, and then he like fell apart.
Yeah, I think he's more worried. Like it's hard to say what kind of internal shit's going on at Red Bull. Because we know that Horner plays all sorts of like mind games too, even between the drivers and all sorts, So it's really, I think none of us have any idea. Maybe when this next year's Drive to 5 comes out on the season, we'll see a little bit more. But I think it's just pressure, straight up. I think he can drive better than he's driving right now. I mean,
for sure.
He still got up to 6th place today, so it wasn't. He had a good recovery.
He didn't make it out of Q2. So
he didn't make it out of Q2.
So he's obviously started somewhere
like
in 10th,
12th.
15th.
Yeah.
What is Zach's comment over there on the live? Something about Reese's?
Tristan sounds Reese's about the tortilla guy.
I don't even know what that means.
That's some code word.
Is that, I don't know. That's a new one for me. I don't know. Reese's on the tortilla guy. Confusion.
But I do love Reese's.
You gotta put them in the freezer.
Yeah,
that's the jam. Sorry, side note. Other people notable drives like the Haas in Q2, actually Q3 too. And then our boy Hulkenberg got docked, which I thought was horse shit. I was not very stoked on that. It was about that red flag thing. That's what it was.
Yeah, I thought it was a red flag, and then after the race,
yellow flag.
It was red flag at that point.
No, yeah, he came across the line and supposedly he got docked for
not slowing
down for the red flag, which it's on the opposite. I don't know why. I think that was horseshit. Like, I don't know. It was on the other side of the track. It's not like he was zipping by and the car was on the side of the road and he was like, oh, I'm going to click off my heater.
That's the difference between the red flag and a yellow flag, right? Yellow flag is just in that sector, and if you're beyond it, you can keep to speed. Red flag, everybody on the track has to slow. I haven't seen the exact replay video, but from what I understand, it was so close.
That's what I'm thinking. Like, you can't dock him for that.
Kind of screwy, really, and so that's unfortunate. He only got 3 place grid penalties, so not the worst. But it was really cool to see him up there, and the rain played a factor. It wasn't just sheer pace, but he did well.
The Canadians were mad that America was kicking their ass again, and an even lower grade team was kicking the Canadians' ass. That's why. And so they're like, we got to kick them while they're down.
Yep, the American team.
Like ratchet for Reese's? Is that what, races for Reese's? Is that what that says? Races for Reese's?
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. I have a child on Instagram Live right now, and I don't know what the hell is happening.
We got a heckler. We got a heckler on Instagram Live. You know, it happens.
Carlos got a penalty too for impeding. I think it was like holding.
Yeah, his was pretty bad on Gasly.
Yeah, I don't remember seeing it. I remember seeing the one where I saw Stroll was on it and he like lit up the rear end. And he was just trying to keep the thing straight, but he didn't get a penalty for it.
I didn't see that one.
Yeah, they're going through that. It's on that back section where you do the right and it goes sweeping left into
so
the
Stroll
back corner.
did get a penalty.
He did get a penalty for that?
Yeah, I don't know if it was for that, but it must have been because I remember that he just didn't have the power.
Yeah, he was trying to, and he like lit up the rear end, and you see the thing like drift, and what about Stroll's almost near miss in the qualifying?
With that pirouette?
Yeah, the pirouette, and he saved it and somehow did not snap a wing, did not do anything. I thought that was pretty wild.
That was wild. That was definitely wild.
I think that was all luck. I don't know if that was really. That was just he happened to clip everything just right so that he didn't.
He did barely even turn the wheel at all.
No, I know. It just happened to cut loose at the right time, so he didn't destroy his car. Actually, I was really surprised. Sorry, not to interrupt you again, but I was surprised that they got Carlos's car together after he destroyed it in free practice in time for quali, because it was like an hour later, maybe 2 hours later.
Yeah.
So how did they get? Did they have a second car? Like how did they get? Because he smashed his shit. They
have to rebuild it.
He's like his whole rear end was like, and the front end. Yeah, he sheared off the front end. So I'm curious, how did they get his car back together that fast?
Luck.
Yeah, that was weird.
Who is it? Is it Gasly? I think Gasly's already taken all of his power units, so like anything now is all going to be a penalty.
Really?
Something like that. Yeah, because they keep having reliability issues.
Who's their motor supplier?
Renault.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
So, not looking good.
What about Ocon? Is he taking any?
I don't think he's as far along.
Yeah. I think Checo's taking one, and Max is taking one.
Yeah.
I don't know how many. How many do they get? 4 or 6?
No, I think it's only 3. Like 3 engines.
Oh, they only get 3. Okay.
Something like that. Yeah.
Shows you how much I know. And we have a YouTube channel. Great.
I know. We should probably
should read the rules.
There's so many other things though.
Yeah, there's so much.
And they all change all the time.
Nobody cares about the rules anyway, so it's fine. They tell you when the guy gets a penalty. That's all that really matters. Half the rules are bullshit. Like I said, Hulk's docking of the 3 places was bullshit.
Yeah, we need to go see that replay and see really how close it was. So many penalties, but what was cool is it really mixed up the field. So it had a lot of on-track action today.
The DRS train was insane from 7th all the way to
was that behind
13th.
Magnussen?
So yeah, K-Mag, and then it was Mag was starting it, and then it eventually turned into Albon finishing it, which legendary drive in an absolute shitbox car. My lord, I'm bummed for Logan because actually I wanted to talk about that. So Alex has way more experience than Logan does, right? He has 3 seasons at least on him.
Yeah,
but like obviously if Alex can do it, like it's not that the car's not capable of it. So Logan, I'm kind of disappointed, but I mean
no. So you must have missed it. So Alex's car was completely upgraded. Logan's is the old spec.
Oh, well,
so that's why.
Why are they doing
that? Well,
that?
So this is the first race, right? So they can compare and contrast and see what's working with the upgrades and what's not.
So that's actually a smart way to go about it, right? Because maybe it's just Red Bull that does this. I heard that Red Bull keeps their cars exactly the same for both drivers. They don't tune it to each driver. So then that's why.
Yeah, that's why Perez has to drive Max's car all the time.
Yes.
Or everybody. That's why everybody has such a hard time.
Yes.
Because Max basically tells them how they want it set up, and they set both cars up the same way.
Which is stupid. I don't know why you don't do that in any other form of motorsport. So that's actually smart that Williams to do that. So hopefully.
So that's why Logan really struggled. I don't think it's anything to do with his driving, and I mean he ended up having to retire too.
Yeah.
But that's the reason why. And then honestly, looking at how well Alex performed and that car spec performed through multiple conditions, right? Drag track, wet track,
everything,
super wet track. So basically just him being able to perform that well, not only on quality, because I thought, okay, maybe it was just quality, but then he really put it through the paces today. I'm excited to see Williams actually doing well. I think the new spec's working clearly.
This
Be
new car
awesome to
brings
see Logan in there.
closer. So
It does. It does.
way closer. Well, what about? Does this mean Alex gets a better ride next year? Like, do we see him going to a more top
Maybe,
tier team?
or do we think Williams is going to start making a comeback to at least the midfield?
Easy.
Yeah, but like, so they have what, Pete Bonington? No, that's Lewis's guy right now. But they have, so Mercedes, one of their head like top development guys is now their team principal.
Yeah.
And I remember watching a lot of his videos years ago and explaining kind of like, okay, well, this is what we did, and this is what kind of went wrong, and this is what we can learn from it. And so I've always thought, he's super, super knowledgeable. He's all about like a strategist.
Didn't the old dude, what's his name? I forget his name. The rally car guy, the old principal that took over after the chick left.
Oh yeah,
Is Ross? I don't know his name. It's like a basic name, and I can't think of it right now. He was on Drive to Survive, but didn't he just like get up and quit out of nowhere?
I don't know.
I thought I heard something like that. Yeah, from Williams, the old.
I don't know.
No, Jost.
Oh yeah, the old team principal.
Yeah. Didn't he just like get up and leave, and they're like, oh yeah, hey, like this week Jost left left. He's no longer with Williams.
I don't know, because they had remember like Williams got bought out
right
through there too. So
shit-canned.
Either that, or maybe he didn't like how management was going, or they didn't get along, or who knows? I have no idea. But what I do know is that, hey, they're performing pretty well, and that's exciting to see.
Wonder if that'll bring them some more money or something. I don't see at that point though. I don't know. Like, obviously, money with a cost cap though. So it's like, does it really matter how much money you have?
Well, remember, so some of those teams, like let's say Haas, right? Like this is maybe last year was the first year that they could actually even come close to even hitting the cost cap,
Right.
because they just didn't have the budget, but they're starting to get the budget, right? So all of those lower teams are starting to have budgets that are matching the same budget that the bigger teams are having. So cost is coming a lot less of a factor, which is why I think we see the cars just a lot more closer, because honestly, with as much money as Mercedes has, if they had unlimited funds like they used to, I think they'd be able to work through the issues a lot faster.
Yeah,
they have to be more strategic about it now, right? So it's like everything that you manufacture, if it goes on the car, that, like, even if it's just in practice,
Right.
it goes into the cost. So it could be something that they never even use.
They just tested it.
But they tested it, and now all of a sudden that's in there, right? So they have to be really strategic with what they do.
What's the percentage of this actually helping the car perform?
And I don't know exactly what that, like, I think they can make stuff and try it in like the wind tunnel. And if they don't like it, they could scrap it.
That doesn't count for anything.
But then, yeah, I think,
Right.
don't quote me on it, but I think there's something like that. But then those top teams are limited on their wind tunnel time. So they're, everything.
They lose wind tunnel time per, like, when you win
Where
the
they
title.
place.
Yeah. And then, so like Haas is going to have way more wind tunnel time than Mercedes.
Yeah. And Williams too, right? Maybe
Yeah.
that's why they're able to develop things a lot better as well.
Well, and then Red Bull also lost wind tunnel time on top of with their penalty from the cost cap.
But
their car,
obviously they're not struggling, and their car was already
light years
great,
ahead.
so they didn't have to do a whole bunch of new shit for this year. Because remember, last year was the first year for that car, and now they're just fine tuning things. Where, let's say Mercedes, for example, went just in a direction that didn't work all last year and tried to make it work. Well, now they're pivoting and they're bringing a whole new type this year, and obviously it's doing better, but they're still miles behind because of having to strategize those upgrades.
Right. If Red Bull was a Haas, right, and they got docked that wind tunnel time too, they'd probably be shitting bricks like, God, our car sucks.
Yeah.
And we got docked wind tunnel time. Like,
Totally.
Shouldn't have ordered Buca de Beppo.
Well, we could talk about, since we're talking about Mercedes, talk about George Russell smashing the wall on lap 12. Just like you guys need to smash that like button.
I think we need to re-edit that, reshoot that. But anyways.
Yeah, it's on.
Yes, you
guys,
can keep it straight.
Thanks.
Trying to say it. That was great.
Because you were just laughing the whole
I
time. You knew it was coming. You wrecked me.
Anyways, smash
Thanks,
the wall,
guys.
smash the like
Smash
button,
the like
or
button.
subscribe button, whichever one you use. Follow button, all the above.
Yeah. Thanks, guys. Anyway, we do appreciate your support on the channel here. We're slowly growing. It's awesome. We love seeing it. Give us your ideas, feedback. We're always open. So, other than George, like kind of having that mistake today, he's been performing really well. I think him and Lewis are becoming a little bit more close as far as like,
Meow.
yeah, it seems like the team is actually becoming, I mean, they're rising, obviously, right? Lewis is starting to kind of challenge for third place in the championship, you know, against Alonso. They're not super far off, but Alonso's challenging Perez. And if Perez, you know, I could see Perez dropping all the way down to fourth or fifth if he keeps driving like he's driving now. Yeah.
Figure his life out, yeah. Which at the same time, you got to look at too, like anybody could have a bad race. So like Lewis could have a shitty race, and then Checo's just got a solid third if Alonso catches him, right? So when DNFs are involved, you never know when it's going to come, whether it's a wreck or just like Logan's car just took a shit and we don't know why. Well, actually, what about, since I got the AlphaTauri shirt on, we can talk a lot of shit about those guys. Him and DeVries and K-Mag taking each other out into the safety shootout lane. I was like, oh, they're gonna retire both those cars, and they somehow figured it out.
Yeah.
The reason why I am wearing the AlphaTauri shirt is because I'm pretty sure the Honey Badger is coming back after this weekend. Just like solidified it. I'm pretty sure the Honey Badger will be within the next 2 or 3 races.
Do you think he's gonna take over DeVries' ride?
Yeah. Well, he already had a seat fitting at the factory in Italy, right? That's where it's at. Yeah. Or did they move? Yeah. So he had a seat fitting. I think he could definitely get the most out of that car. He's been doing a lot of development stuff for the Red Bull team. So and even Red Bull's openly admitted, like, hey, like Daniel's really helped us develop a lot. So I think you put him in that car, I think he'll be able to challenge Yuki all day. Which Yuki did drive good in one of the free practice, or one of the he just missed Q3, I thought.
Yeah.
Did he? I can't remember. No, Yuki was driving better this weekend, but I think with the rain, I was a little, because we were talking about picking him for a fantasy, and I was scared to pick him because I wasn't sure how he'd do in the rain. And I thought the race was supposed to be rainy too, and I thought
the race was going to be rainy too.
That's what I looked at the forecast, because that's why I used like what I did for my fantasy picks. And
and I listened to you.
I'm the problem. Yeah, I'm the problem. You know, I'm the problem with people's relationships. I'm the problem with society. I am the problem with America, I guess. I'm everybody's problem. It's
it's therapy day. It's okay, buddy.
No, that's inside joke stuff. But I think AlphaTauri could get a lot better once they put the Badger in there. Maybe he could help, since he has so much more experience than DeVries and Yuki. I think he could really lead that team.
I think he's hungry too, you know?
Yeah.
I think he's hungry to show he's still got it.
Yeah.
I don't know that the car's really that great, to be honest.
I feel like it can't be any worse than Williams.
Maybe not.
I feel like
maybe Williams is really developing better.
True.
I'm not sure. You would think that the sister team would have some sort of
rip off the same car.
You'd think. You would Aston Martin's ripping them off. Why can't their own sister team do it?
Aston Martin's a genius. They took all the best pieces of every car and just made their own.
It's kind of sick. It's kind of ironic that it's actually working.
Yeah,
you know, like we're taking this and this and this and this, and it's all kind of working. How long do we think Lawrence Stroll's gonna continue footing the bill for Lance to not perform?
I mean, okay, do you think Lawrence goes and gets another driver, or say, like, what happens first? What comes first? Lawrence gets another driver, or he just sells the team? And because I think that's the reason why he bought the team, right? So that he can.
I think so, because at that point Lance wasn't really driving very well.
Yeah,
I think Lance is a way better driver now than he ever was. Like,
for sure.
And I do think that potentially, you know, Daddy bought the team so then he could continue driving,
better seat time, or better chances at seat time.
Yeah,
better treatment.
But I also think that they like to win, and Lawrence likes to win, and obviously Fernando is winning.
Like, do you think Lawrence is making money on the team? Like, you think the team is, like, his investment in the team is paying him back? Like, is he getting ROI on the team?
Yeah, I bet. I mean, potentially, maybe not. But
you think
there's something with the Aston Martin deal too, and I need to look into that a little bit more. But I know he had bought a bunch of Aston Martin stock, like, and so he was like part of Aston Martin as a company.
Got it.
And so there could be some pressure from Aston Martin saying, well, you need to perform. I don't know, you know.
I would imagine.
But then I heard something about him offloading some stock, but that could be all hearsay. I really have nothing to go on that. So I don't know.
Within F1.
But I just think it's interesting because Lawrence is talking about how they want to start challenging for the championship. And if that is your goal,
Who's are
Who's
they
gonna
making
step
any?
in?
Are they well, yeah, that. Or are they making any changes to the team next year, sponsors wise? Like Red Bull is taking on Ford, but
Right. I know that's what I was kind of wondering too. I don't know because Audi's coming in
26. I
for
think 2026.
are they or 24?
No, it wasn't gonna be 24. It was like still like a couple. It
26?
was a couple years off. Because I was like,
So
why is
they're
it gonna
taking
take so long?
over Alpha,
They just need to get. I wonder if they get
and then
another shit
Cadillac's coming in
with
26.
their own team, right? Yeah,
I
with
think so.
the
Yeah.
Andretti's.
With Andretti, yeah.
That they get approved. Did they
I
actually
don't know
officially
that
get
it's
approved?
been official, but
I know they applied and they paid out. They showed they have the funds to do it. But
yes.
I think what would help this sport is if we brought the car scale down. Okay,
What does that mean?
like the cars are too big.
Make them smaller.
Yeah, make the cars smaller. They don't have to be super small. We're not racing IndyCar, right? So like
Mhm.
they could still be big, and you could still get the performance, like the top speed. You can still do all that shit, but just scale the car back a little bit because the cars, like when you go to races like Monaco, or even for Monaco, do like a
Or-
one-off car. Like okay, Monaco, because this street
Yeah, but
circuit
then
is so
Who
tight.
can do a one-off car with the cost cap,
Well,
So
yeah.
also think about, and maybe the cost cap's going to change as more races, right? Every single year they keep adding more races to the calendar, so that's more money and more cost to keep running. I think as much as I don't want to see Monaco leave the race schedule, and obviously this year was like super packed full of just overtakes, which never happens. It's like it was really actionful.
Right.
But what if we get away from all of the tights? Not all, but some of like we've had. I want to say like 7 or 8 out of the last 9 races have been street circuits.
Do you think there's too many street circuits?
Potentially,
Like
because
go to
that's what's
those.
so narrow. Think about like Cota, right? Like Circuit of Americas. That's huge. There's lots more overtaking. The France track, right? Like all of those with really big runoff
St.
areas
Paul or
and
something like that? What is it?
I
know which one you're talking about. The one
right,
with all the
even-
red, white, and blue stripes on the
yep,
place. Yeah.
exactly. And even
Actually,
Lewis's home race, right?
Silverstone.
Silverstone.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, dude, all of those, like, I wouldn't say that the cars are too big for those tracks.
No, for sure. Like it's
so
only like the
maybe-
tight courses. I mean, Baku though, like Baku's so big that like there's like 2 or 3 tight sections,
Mhm.
but that long straightaway, like that supports it. Like there's certain places, like even Miami though, that's a brand new track, and that I feel like that track's kind of small
It was a street circuit too.
for the.
And Las Vegas is going to be a street circuit.
I'm curious how they do. I wonder what they're gonna do because there's an island.
Oh, so here's also a fun fact that I want to try and do a video
Oh,
on.
boy.
So one of my new clients here, her dad's in like construction.
Yeah.
So I don't think he's actually overseeing the construction for F1 in Vegas, but so she was telling me that when they surface the road for an F1 race, they put 10 inches of asphalt down.
Jesus.
So, and then after that, they have to take that off for them to go back to normal streets.
So so they lay it on top of like the regular street.
Yeah. So there's a crazy little fact for you. So I'm like, oh man, that'd be interesting to see what else goes into it. So
Right.
trying to see if either getting him, if he has the insight or if he knows somebody who'd be like willing to jump on and be like, yeah, let's talk about this. I was like, that's fascinating. I would have never thought 10 inches.
Yeah,
It's like a whole foot of fucking asphalt.
That or I don't know why for some reason I thought I'm like, yeah, they're just driving on the street, you block off the roads.
Well, that's what I thought too.
Because going to that is what I was thinking. I was like, so there's an island that runs all down the strip in Vegas, and they're racing down the strip. So I'm curious, like, are they going to take that island out for the race, or are they going to just use one side of the street?
They might just, yeah, and like, so if you've seen the before and after on Monaco, right? It's like you can't even tell that all these trees were in the middle of the road and stuff when you look at the racetrack, because they cover it up with barriers and they cover it up with, and so you can't even tell that all the stuff's there.
Right.
And then they take it away and you're like, oh, geez, that's crazy. Because
Interesting.
and maybe because there's 10 inches, it covers up the sidewalk too, right? So
Yeah,
maybe
yeah.
they have to surface
Surface
the
it.
sidewalks and everything.
Which is crazy to think how much, like, okay, who pays for all this, right? Like, is it not the FIA because they're fucking worthless, but
Yeah,
who's
is
paying?
it
Is
F1
it
or is it the city or
Yeah, that because they're maybe
taxpayers are paying to,
They think because
All
the
the revenue
revenue
that
it's
brings
bringing
in,
into the
potentially.
city, like the city's just like, yeah, cool, we'll redo the streets.
yeah,
I mean,
potentially.
that's a wild thing to think of. I didn't think about that at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like I mean, like Long Beach Grand Prix, obviously that's IndyCar and the Formula Drift and all that stuff. Um, I've been like all around that area, but I actually haven't seen the race. So I wonder for that too. Like, do they just race on the actual street, or do they?
I don't know. Yeah,
I don't
maybe
think
different
I don't think
federations have different rules.
I don't think IndyCar is going to resurface that. I don't think they have the funding to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Or if it is, it's like a super thin layer, maybe. But I think
Right.
I've seen I've seen the markings like on the ground from like roundabouts that
Actual
are normally
streets.
there, and
Mhm. Yeah.
So that's interesting.
Yeah.
There's something else. We talked about George Russell.
Yeah, I think that's
George Wall.
the big George Wall. I think that was the biggest stuff, really. It was fun watching Alonso and Hamilton battle for a second.
Yeah, I wonder if that got under Lewis's skin a little bit, since they were. I wonder if Alonso's like, aha, like I wonder if he was like stoked because he.
I think
kept
Alonso
getting beat
has
by him
more
back
of
in
a
the day.
problem with Hamilton than Hamilton has with Alonso.
Yeah, 'cause I'm sure I could believe that because I'm sure Hamilton's just like, dude, I've won more than you. I don't give a shit.
Totally, right?
Like,
And beat him head to head in his rookie season.
yeah.
I think Alonso has more to prove.
I think back in the day too, maybe if you would ask that question back in the day when Lewis first came on the scene, maybe he would have been
for
like,
sure.
oh yeah, I hate that guy. Oh, like,
Probably.
like,
Well,
fuck
because
that
also,
guy.
Alonso was kind of one of the guys to beat when Lewis came in, right?
Yeah.
Alonso, obviously Schumacher.
Yeah.
But so that, to be able to come in and be able to perform against a two-time world champ,
Right.
Yeah,
Lando getting the grid penalty. Lando got
that's what it
grill-
was.
The grid
That's what
penalty
it was.
at the
Talking about
end
Lando
for stacking the field.
unsportsmanlike conduct or something is what they called it. I'd never heard that in Formula One before, so I actually had to go and research like what the fuck did he get in trouble for? Apparently he, under the safety car, they have a certain delta speed that they have to maintain. He went underneath that delta to bunch up the field behind because you can't pass under safety car or yellow flag. And that allowed them to create enough gap between him and his teammate Oscar Piastri so that they were able to double stack in the pit lane.
So I think he probably did it. He didn't do it trying to stack the field. He was doing it so that he could make the pit.
Yeah.
So he wasn't thinking like, oh yeah, I'm going to stack the field, like screw the whole field.
It just happened a bunch every
like if he was in last, it wouldn't have mattered.
So yeah.
Or since he was in that freight train of people, that was what 12. It was like from 7th all the way back to 15th.
Do that. All of them real close. Yeah, wild. So that's why 5-second penalties, which took him all the way out of the points.
I know we talked about George smashing the wall, but I think we concluded that his problem was he probably messed something up in the brakes and he couldn't.
I think so.
The brakes were getting too hot.
Yeah, because then he was riding behind Alex Albon and just not getting any clean air to cool those off.
Excuse me, COVID, look out.
So driving behind George Russell driving behind Alex Albon, not able to get any free air, which causes a lot more heat on the brakes. And so and I bet he probably did something, whether he just like bent it enough that it didn't
the airflow
cool as well. Yeah,
flowing as much.
Yeah, so I was actually just impressed to see him go from basically last to up into the points. I mean, wasn't he? I think he was at like 8th or something.
I didn't think he got back in the points. I think he was on the door, like he was on that freight train, and then he just was right.
Maybe it was. Maybe
he was like 12 or something like that. And he was there, like he was in that group, like he could have easily. But dude, actually, Lando was making some legendary passes, and I thought he was going to get. Who's he?
Yeah, he almost.
Ocon? I think it was Ocon.
Was it Ocon or?
Yeah.
Bottas? Yeah, it was Ocon.
Yeah, he got
because he passed Bottas, and then Stroll passed right before the line got Bottas.
Yeah,
which was kind of, helped my fantasy.
Yeah, helped my fantasy too. I thought Stroll was like gonna kill me this weekend, but
yeah,
no
negative helped. I think for qualifying for sure.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah,
I feel like that's the biggest updates.
I forget anything. When's the next race? Is that next weekend? Or are we off another weekend?
I think we have one weekend off and then the next weekend. I haven't even thought that far ahead, honestly. I don't even know where it is.
If you want a shirt, DM us. We'll send you a shirt. I got plenty. Small through extra large.
Like, share, subscribe, get a shirt.
Yeah. Don't yeah, sorry, we don't have the bigger sizes yet. So if you need a bigger size, let me know.
We have what? XL?
Yeah,
large,
small through XL.
Medium, yeah.
Yeah, small through XL.
Sweet.
Yeah. Thanks for joining us. Hope you enjoyed the race. We'll see you at the next race. Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks again, guys. Like, share, subscribe. We'll see you on the next one.